2 diabetes?
Discover the Ozempic Trizone.
You've likely heard that song or heard someone's story.
And I believe the medicine has created a new relationship with me and food.
But maybe you haven't heard how all of this works, or if it works.
And lost some weight.
In studies, the majority of people reached an A1C under 7.
Ozempic is the most recognizable brand name within a class of drugs called GLP-1 agonists. They've been prescribed for more than a decade by Dr. Jamie Almandos.
What this does is helps people to interact with food in a different way.
He directs UT Southwestern's Weight Wellness Program. These drugs are typically shots taken once a week. They mimic natural hormones that lower blood sugar, slow digestion, and make you feel fuller longer. They were developed for diabetes, but also cause weight loss.
Unfortunately, we don't look at obesity as a chronic disease. And what we need to do is kind of reframe how we do this. What these medications can do is to help us to be satisfied with less food for longer.
Obesity is not a personality disorder. It is an issue. It's a metabolic issue. It is a disease like any other.
Doctors call these shots effective treatments for obesity. But now they aren't just being used as medicines. Some consider them cosmetics. There was a 300% increase in prescriptions nationwide from 2020 to 2022. And here in DFW, from 2021 to 2022, a 132% increase in patients on these drugs. The analytics firm Trilliant Health tracked those numbers.
Never give up.
This week on WFAA, patients and doctors talk about safety, cost, access, shame, and success.
I don't constantly think about food. I'm not eating my current meal and thinking about what I'm going to eat at my next meal. That was my life before.
We answer, is it a miracle shot or not?
Sugar was a real big one for you. So are you better with sugar?
Oh, absolutely.
Almost all of Dr. Jill Wagoner's patients battle obesity, heart disease, or diabetes.
That 1 cup of coffee.
This is not only a conversation with one of those patients.
I'm beginning to eat more and more fruit.
This is a husband.
You said so.
Because
Talking with his wife.
This is my first time to meet you, but you've told me that if I would have met you before, I would have seen a lot more of you.
And you would have seen quite a bit more of me. I would say about 50 pounds more of me.
Mark Jones was overweight and pre-diabetic and far from alone. The CDC says nearly 48% of Black Americans are clinically obese, and 43.5% of Black Texans have obesity.
this is not good. We've got to do something.
Society considers obesity a character flaw, but doctors say it is a disease that needs to be treated with drugs. Under Dr. Wagoner's guidance, Mark takes tirzepatide, a weight loss shot with the brand name of Zepbound or Mounjaro.
This is not a magic bullet. I know what people are saying. It is not the truth.
The shot curbs Mark's appetite. He craves less, so he says he eats less, weighs less, and has energy to move more. That combination of better habits is key, especially in minority populations.
It may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. And if I can help you to get to wellness, then I absolutely want to do that.
While I'm looking better on the outside, the lab work started to look better on the inside.
From a high of 350,
Reversing this situation,
Mark is down to 280 pounds. He reports no side effects and hopes he is proof it is possible to get healthier with age in a community of color. In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.
The pictures before and after Ozempic are incredible. Joelle Potter of Waxahachie lost 55 pounds.
It was cool just like slowly seeing all these clothes that now are like giant on me.
Shanta Quillette Williams in Cedar Hill, 120.
I can't imagine where I would have been if Ozempic wasn't available for me.
But how long does that weight really stay off? What does it take to keep it off?
So that's the part no one really talks about.
Dr. Uma Gunasekaran is the endocrinologist at the top of Parkland's diabetes program. Told me studies show that patients' weight loss often plateaus, after 12 to 14 months on the drug.
I've met people who don't change the way that they live and they get really excited. They eat out 4 times a week. They eat a lot of high calorie, high fat foods, and they're like, yeah, but I can do that and just take my medication. And I'm like, but the medication will stop.
It stops working, she said, because Ozempic and its sister GLP-1 drugs work by reducing your appetite. But about a year in, your body reacts to the sudden weight loss and essentially gets very hungry.
The appetite suppression feeling starts to go away. You get this insatiable hunger that happens during that plateau period. And so if you have incredible hunger and you didn't change the way you eat, you're going to eat even more of your high calorie, high fat foods. And then you'll gain the weight back most of the time more than you did before.
Often when people plateau, they try to up their dose of the medication. But when a patient gets to the highest dose, Dr. Gunasekaran said, she cannot push it any higher. Folks will also often try to switch to a similar but different version of the drug.
Your insurance may not cover it, so you may be at the end of the road, and you want to be able to transition to something that helps you hold on to that weight loss.
Dr. Gunasekaran told me these drugs are a terrific piece of a weight loss program, but said their progress is only sustainable if patients adjust diet and exercise once they get on them.
So that's kind of the way that I look at these weight loss medications is, are you ready to put the work in to figure out what you're going to do when this medication is no longer really supporting you as well as it was before?
You've got to change your mindset of how you're eating.
These North Texans say they're putting in that work in the kitchen and gym because they plan to keep the combined 175 pounds they've lost off. In Dallas, I'm Sydney Persing.
The reason why?
On TikTok.
I hardly have an appetite.
Chantaquillette Carter-Williams posts proudly.
I'm on 2.0 milligrams.
About taking Ozempic.
It's a size medium, y'all.
Despite the fact her inbox is
full of women ridiculing me and calling me lazy.
Chantaquillette started to gain weight after she developed a heart arrhythmia. At 39 years old, she had a heart attack, then a stroke.
My focus wasn't how much I was eating. My focus wasn't exercise.
It was to be a mom to her 7 kids and get back to work after 2 medical crises. But the risk of another episode, one that could kill her, was high.
Dying, that was the biggest concern. I didn't want to die.
Chantaquillette was also diagnosed with diabetes. Her doctor prescribed her Ozempic to manage that and help with weight loss.
Because I know a lot of people think this person's taking it just to lose weight. They're taking the easy way. And so, for some people, it wasn't the easy way.
Joelle Potter is another North Texas mom who shares her journey on the drug with the world.
Let's do this.
Joelle struggled with PCOS, insulin resistance, high cholesterol, and obesity. She told me people mocked her weight, called her a cow.
I'm fat and I'm shamed, and then I'm trying to lose weight the easy way and I'm shamed.
Undeterred by the online hate, Joelle has lost 55 pounds. Her hormones are normal.
Healthy as could be, and that's what I wanted.
Chantaquillette is down 120. Her blood pressure and cholesterol are good. And she's alive, which matters much more than the strangers who make fun of her online.
I think everybody should have the freedom of choice without being judged. Especially when it comes to making life-changing decisions.
Despite being shamed, neither of these women are ashamed by the decisions they made with their doctors.
I want people to know, do what's right for you. Do what's right for you.
I know I'm looking good here, y'all.
And pray their stories, their posts, prove you shouldn't be either. In Dallas, I'm Sydney Persing.
You look great. Everybody looks so great. When I look around this room, I can't help but wonder, is Ozempic right for me?
Once Hollywood discovered the shots that lead to weight loss, the rest of the world wanted in.
I've lost 80 pounds over the past year and a half using Ozempic or Mounjaro.
Demand skyrocketed, supply plummeted, and patients who rely on these drugs to control diabetes still face shortages. The spike in demand meant a hike in price. Ozempic and Mounjaro went up in 2024. The list price for both is now around $1,000 a month. They are approved for diabetes. Wegovy and Zepbound, approved for obesity, have a list price of $1,000 to $1,300 a month. All 4 require a prescription, and there is no generic. Insurance companies often cover the drugs that treat diabetes, less commonly cover shots for weight loss.
Some patients make a decision to try to afford it. We try to get coupons, anything that we can to help them.
Doctors trust manufacturer savings cards and coupons, but they don't always trust Groupons, where spas and wellness centers advertise discounts, no prescription needed. They say they're selling semaglutide, which is in Ozempic and Wegovy, but there's no way to know that's exactly what they're selling. Compounding pharmacies offer semaglutide too, but the FDA keeps a database of patients who reported adverse events after taking compounded semaglutide. Non-name brands are not FDA approved.
So we're really not kind of sure what it is that patients are accessing when they go to compounding pharmacies. So this is not something that we recommend in our practice.
So is there an option if you aren't covered and you can't afford them? You can try lobbying, not your insurer, but your employer.
Many people aren't aware that it's not the insurance companies that determine coverage, but their employers.
Cost matters, but safety matters most. In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.
I don't even remember that person anymore. She's smiling, but she's not the happiest person in the world right there.
The old Tara is not really remembered and really not recognized.
I have been classified, or would have fit the classification of super morbidly obese for almost my entire life.
She had gastric bypass surgery decades ago, lost 260 pounds, then gained 160 back.
So I made it down to 190, and I tell people it was probably for a day. And then I yo-yoed back up to 350, where I rode, living in embarrassment, because there were a lot of people in my life who knew I had that surgery and that saw that I gained back a lot of weight.
At her heaviest, Tara Monroe Campbell was 450 pounds. She bought into society's idea that her obesity was her personal problem, a flaw, a choice. Then a UT Southwestern weight management program taught her obesity is a disease, and she began treating it with a drug. She started Ozempic in 2022, before it became trendy. She's 165 pounds now and holding, and she's certain the shot is part of the reason.
The medication isn't always necessarily a magic bullet, but I walk, I exercise, I lift weights. I do what I have to do to invest in myself to stay where I need to stay, where I want to stay. If there comes a point where I feel like I can wean myself off, if it works, great. I am prepared to stay on it the rest of my life if that's what it takes. I used to feel like I had this 450-pound monster chasing me that I was trying to outrun, and because I didn't want it to catch me. But at some point, that just went away, and that stopped being a fear that I have.
The yo-yo is now still and steady, and she vows to keep it that way. That's the new Tara. Less weight, more confidence. In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.